like it's been a minute. I'm so excited. I've come all the way down here. Yeah. No, you're so welcome. I'm always looking for a reason to come home. Yeah, good. So I've relocated now to the big city. Yeah, it's good. I really like it. I think the first few months was obviously a bit weird trying to get settled, and I kind of went there on a bit of a whim. But how are things with you? You've kept me in the lurch. I'm excited. What was I got a very exciting email from Chrissy asking me to come back down to Oxford because she had a bit of news for me.
I've got a new job.
Oh, exciting! What's that? Tell me all about it.
It's a long story, but it's my dream job. It is a dream job. Last year, St Columba's Church, United Reformed Church in Oxford, put an advert out for an outreach and development worker to the transgender, intersex and non-binary community.
Oh wow, okay. That's a pretty rare role for the church to be advertising, isn't it?
Yeah. To create a role like that is mind-blowing. I still can't believe it. It's beautiful.
Amazing.
So the role is literally outreach and development worker with transgender, intersex and non-binary people.
Okay.
So it is what it says on the label.
Yeah. So what's like the aim of the role? Why does the church want to have that role then?
I think Helen, the minister who set the role up, has trans friends, other ministers in fact, just saw the pain and the heartache that we go through just trying to survive. I think she created that role so that the church could tell the trans, intersex, non-binary community that God loves them and that this church is a safe place for us. So it's a breathtaking role. I'm totally in awe of it.
Yeah.
And it's
like the best fit for you. I mean, if I could like write on paper something that you were born to do, I think this is it.
I mean, I've been doing this on a voluntary basis for the last 7 years, really.
Yeah.
Trying to pastor within the LGBT community, trans community. So it just gives me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. So is it a paid job?
Yeah, it's 3-year contract, salaried.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Full time. So.
Oh, congratulations! I'm
365.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. Yeah.
So that's the job.
Yeah. How are you feeling about starting?
Well, I started on January the 4th.
Yeah.
And most of it so far has been hidden sort of research, networking, developing vision and strategy and goals. I'll share a bit more about that later.
Yeah.
More detail.
Yeah. I mean...
Can I have my bacon sandwich?
Yeah, of course you can. I've just got avocado all over my face. So some of our viewers will know who you are already, but for new people, do you just want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Chrissy Shevasu. I'm 63. I'm married. I've got 2 beautiful daughters, and I've been trans from my very earliest memories, so that's nearly 60 years. I came out when I was 55. I've been a pastor, a missionary. I've run my own building business for 20 years. And for the last 7 years I've been an advocate for trans youth within the wider church and pastoring within the LGBT community.
March the 31st is Transgender Day of Visibility. What does that mean for you?
Well, it's a really important day. It's recognised internationally as a day when transgender, intersex, non-binary people share their lives and their stories, that we are present in society, and just to share the good things that we have in our lives and what we have to celebrate, and the good things that we bring to society. And it's really important in a day and age when there is such a toxic dialogue surrounding our existence. There are many who say we shouldn't exist. And so it's redressing the balance, really, and it's sharing our lives with the wider world.
Tell me about the role. What aims and goals do you have? Where do you want to take it?
I think the role falls very naturally into two parts, and it's a bit like walking a tightrope. It's a balancing act. That obviously there's the immediate local and urgent pastoral needs of the trans community in Oxford and the surrounding area, but how can we hope to improve the lives of trans, intersex, non-binary people locally unless we address the national issues? So, the issues that trans people face in healthcare, in education, in law, in politics, in the arts and the media, and even within the wider church. So unless we address those areas, it's hard to change the local situation. I think Desmond Tutu has been quite rightly quoted often in the last few months, and he said, look, it's no good just pulling people out the river. We need to go upstream and find out why they're falling in the river. And I see my role as twofold. One is locally, pastorally, to encourage and equip and serve the trans, intersex, non-binary community, but also on a national level, seeking to advocate for change, positive and lasting change.
Why are you the right person for this job?
Oh my goodness. I didn't even know why I was chosen for the job. I nearly didn't apply because it's Oxbridge, darling. I just assumed the role would go to somebody ordained, somebody with a master's degree in theology, and I didn't have any qualifications, a very little education, so I actually didn't apply for the job until my family and my friends pestered me and said, why on earth aren't you applying? At which point I thought, well, maybe I am being a bit stupid. So I applied and got the job. I think it's because of the vision that I hold for the role. It's my experience and my giftings. And I think one of the reasons is that I promoted myself as being a builder, and I know what it is to dig foundations, and I see part of my job in this role is to prepare it and create it for the next person into the role. So I have a 3-year contract, and I see that I'm really digging the foundations for something that we want to be a lasting and sustainable role and ministry going into the future. And so a lot of what I will be doing is consolidating this role, creating it, giving it shape, probably to hand on to the next person in 3 years' time, who I hope will be young, vibrant, exciting, and be able to use all the media platforms that are available to us, like TikTok and Instagram, and Twitter, of which I don't use, but I'm going to have a go. So yeah, I think that's some of the reasons why I was chosen. Perhaps the biggest reason is that as a child and as going through puberty and adolescence, I went through several suicide attempts, and I therefore am passionate about advocacy for trans youth in today's culture, and that I'm on fire in that area, and no amount of wet blankets or cold water thrown over me is going to quench that fire. So yeah, I'm highly motivated.
So Chrissy, why are we here?
Well, I started the role on January the 4th, and since then there's been 3 suicides very close to home for me, and I was here about a month ago at the funeral of a young trans girl who took her own life. having grown up myself as trans and experiencing suicidal ideation and the pain of the physical pain of gender dysmorphia, dysphoria and dysmorphia, the psychological impact of that, the mental torment. These suicides really hit me hard, but they don't knock me down. They create a fire in me to represent and advocate for trans people and for the vulnerability of trans people. So even the heartache and the heartbreak of a family losing their child just strengthens my resolve. And I guess the bottom line for me is that it is about literally saving lives, physically saving people's lives. And the more effective that I am, the more effective we are in all the ministries that serve the trans community, intersex, non-binary community, the more we can help people break them free of isolation, break them free of the stigma and the pain and the torment. So, you know, I'm being funded full-time for 3 years to, bottom line, to save lives. I wanted to bring you here really to partly to show you the motivation I have in this role, but when we talk about safe space, it's not so much something that's geographical, it's cultural and it's all pervasive. And so, you know, trans youth can grow up with fully affirming parents. They can, you know, they can be part of a culture at school where they're embraced, and yet there is a toxic narrative surrounding trans identity and trans youth which pervades and soaks through everything. Social media, the press, even film and television. What's amazing about this job is that, you know, I'm salaried for 3 years by a tiny church to create, maintain, extend and defend safe space for trans, intersex, non-binary people. That's a phenomenal gift from the church to the trans community. And whilst the pain that we know is very, very real and up in our faces all the time, you know, we have a wonderful opportunity to empower and equip those who work with the trans, intersex, non-binary community. So I'm really excited.
And St Columba's Church is quite small, isn't it? And you said the congregation are actually sort of a bit older, which kind of makes this even more remarkable that they've created this role. It's not where you'd expect it to come from. Yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful, because I think there's probably 50 people in St Columba's. It's a little Oxford city centre church. There's probably 50 people in the church, and, you know, roughly speaking, the average age is between 50 and 60. So it's not a young, progressive, hip, down with the kids, progressive church. It's a traditional church. It's fully affirming, so it's LGBT affirming and inclusive. But the fact that they've created and funded this role is phenomenal. You know, I think it's probably a first for any church to do something like this, to create a role like this. And money talks. You know, it's a sacrificial giving. 20% of my 3-year salary comes from this little church. 40% comes from the area, or the Wessex Synod, which oversees Oxford and other URC churches in the Wessex area. And then another 40% comes from funds within the URC sort of central government. At Church House. It's unbelievable, it's miraculous, it's beautiful, and I'm so excited. And I still pinch myself every day that I can't believe this role exists, that the church has created it. You know, it's a wonderful good news story, and I'm sure we're going to see lives saved, change, transformed. Yeah.
How do you feel that your whole life you've been in the church, and now is the time where as a transgender person and as a spiritual person, those things are coming together and you have a purpose. How do you feel?
My wife says that my life and our life only now makes sense. It's only now that we see the big picture. A lot of Christians talk about the tapestry, the tapestry that, we don't see or understand our lives, and it looks like the back of a tapestry, and we never get a chance to see what the tapestry actually looks like. Or, the cliche of that we've only got bits of the jigsaw. But my life does finally make sense, all the suffering and experience I've been through, being transgender from my earliest memories, the addiction, verging on prostitution, the abuse within and from the church, all those things now make sense, and they've equipped me to, I think, minister sensitively to others from within the church, and to understand those who have been abused so horrifically by the church. The spiritual part of my life and the trans part of my life finally come together and are complete and fulfilled. I have a very strong sense of purpose and belonging. And I think in a way this job being offered to me was if you like, I know certainly for my wife it was a real validation of the suffering that she's been through, that we've been through. And she sees very clearly how this role is tailor-made for me, I suppose, she thinks. And she's been hugely encouraged by it.
Being offered this role and doing this job day to day, you're presenting as Chrissy day to day. Is this almost like a second coming out for you? How do you feel in your personal transition?
Yeah, I came out to myself 2014, I came out to my wife in 2015, I came out to family and friends over the next couple of years, and I came out publicly pretty much on my 60th birthday, 2019. But this role, really, it's going to be a repeated coming out story. And the reason for that is that the dialogue surrounding us as trans is so toxic and so negative that the danger of negative backlash, of being trolled, and all the hate stuff that happens online, it feels like a coming out over and over again. So this media release, I'm expecting the worst, I'm hoping for the best, but I know it's going to generate probably generate some abuse.
People watching this video, what would you like them to take from it?
Hope. Hope. I think, who would have ever believed that the church would create a role for trans development and outreach, to love and serve the trans community. It's a beautiful gift from the church, from Helen, who created the role, and St Columba's, who have partly funded the role and support the role. Hope, it's good news, and I think it's just watch this space. We've got lots of exciting things planned.
Do you have any hesitations?
No, absolutely none. I know this is right, this is perfect. Now's the time, and let's start building. Let's start building something beautiful, bringing everything together. We couldn't be here without all those who have gone before, paving the way. Whether that's Jan Morris in Oxford, April Ashley. There's so many figures that we owe so much to, that need to be honoured and respected. Is it starting something new? I think no. It's reinforcing and consolidating what's already been done. I can't improve on what other people have done, but maybe I can help them.
Finally, I now live in the north. when are you going to come and visit me?
Yeah, so I'm really excited because a big part of my vision for the role is to use media and to use publicity, to use video, and all the platforms that we have at our disposal to share, to celebrate trans life, intersex life, non-binary life, to tell stories. And so one of my roles is to travel around and interview people. So I'm hoping to hit the road, and I'm hoping that you'll do some road trip videos with me. Maybe that you'll interview some people that appear in my book, interview some of my trans friends, some of the people I know in the community, and create lots more synergy like this, I suppose. So yeah, I'm on my way very soon.
Yeah, road trip incoming, 2022.
Yeah, no, I look forward to working
Thelma
with
and
you.
Louise.
Yeah, thank you ever so much for coming down and for interviewing me.
It's all right, it's always a pleasure.
And I think I just want to say to the trans community, to intersex, non-binary community, that you're loved, you're special, and really look forward to working with you all.